Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching us from. This is another episode of the Sedat HR Digest brought to you by Sedat Consult Limited. My name is Supernatural Intem, and I will be your host for today. If you are joining us for the first time, put that in the comment section. Let us know where you are watching us from. You can also let us know your expectation for today's episode, right? And wherever you are, you can share the link on your various platforms to ensure that others join us in this conversation. Today is going to be quite an insightful and impactful conversation. We are going to be speaking on mastering goal setting and goal getting for 2026 as a professional. And my guest is going to be joining me shortly. Once again, you are welcome. If you are joining us for the first time, put that in the comment section. And if you've been with us, put that in the comment section. Let us know where you are watching us from. Right. So my guest will be joining me briefly, and we'll go right into today's conversation. Once again, the Sedat HR Digest is brought to you by Sedat Consult Limited, your trusted HR partner. All right. So today I'm going to be having Mr. Zakaria Adomako join me. He's joining right away, and we go right into the conversation. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Spanacha. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, I'm excellent. I'm glad to have you here today.
Yes, of course, and I'm happy to be here once again. It's always
Right.
exciting to join the Sedat HR Digest, and happy to share, thoughts with colleagues, friends, partners of Sedat worldwide to learn and to help prepare ourselves into the next year.
Yes, sir. I know you've been here quite a number of times. A lot of people know you, but I'm sure someone is joining for the first time who doesn't really know you. Maybe you'd want to just say something briefly about yourself, and then we go right into the conversation.
Okay, so like you rightly said, my name is Zakaria Adomako. Currently, I'm the human resource business partner for say Middle East and Africa for Bungi. So Bungi is a multinational manufacturing company, and here in West Africa, we are mainly into share fascination. So I oversee the operations in West Africa, cutting across about 8 countries where we source for share nuts and work with partners to process them into butter, and we export this butter to Europe, Asia, and we also process the butter at our plant in Tema. I also have oversight of some of our colleagues based in North Africa. So I have been practicing HR over 15 years. I started my career in the banking sector, not as HR, but along the line, I transitioned it to HR. I think it's been insightful and impactful. I think it's been a career trajectory that I'm really enjoying. And just the last thing, I am currently also the vice chair of the Accra chapter of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management.
Right. Amazing. Always a pleasure to have you here, sir. All right.
That's
So as we get into today's conversation, I think the first thing that we would want everyone to get the understanding on is what exactly is goal setting and goal getting in your perspective as well. Yeah.
okay. I think it's the timing is so right for us to be talking about this topic. In some
Right.
few weeks or days, we are ending 2025 and we are moving into a new year. And I'm pretty sure most of us will be thinking of what is next for me moving into the new year. Mostly, uh, and for most Christians, at the end of the year, we'll talk about our New Year resolutions. And I've heard,
Right.
I've heard people recently saying, now they stop making up those resolutions because they are unable to fulfill them. Why? Because yeah, it's become the norm. So people are saying it and they also want to do it. And based on that, there is no follow through, there is no a well structured plan to achieve whatever resolution that they put across. And that is why most of the times it fails. But it's important that as individuals and as professionals working in organizations, we have, you know, goals set up for ourselves and for organization. So what is goal setting? Basically, it is, the what that you want to achieve within a specific period. The outcome, the desired outcomes that you are looking to achieve for yourself and for your organization. Okay. Tony Robinson says that goal setting is turning out the invisible actions to become visible. So the invisible things that you have in mind, turning them around to become visible, those are the goal settings. And I try to liken this to, let me give a typical example, like a famous athlete I'm sure we all know, Usain Bolt. I'm pretty sure during his day as an athlete, he had envisioned, to break records, and as we speak, he holds the world record. I'm sure going into the tracks to run, he had in mind to do something great for himself and for his nation. And those around him, probably at the stadium at the time, didn't know what he was going to do. But at the end of the day, he set up a record at 100 meters, 200, and that is when it became visible, and that is the goal that he has set for himself. So, goal setting is the what, the desired outcomes that you want to achieve at the end of a certain period. The success or the criteria that you set yourself that will define your success. Okay. And then goal getting is the actions. So the plans that you are putting in place, the actions that you are going to put in place, the time and energy that you are going to translate to help you achieve these goals. So basically, these are my brief description or explanation to goal setting and goal getting. And why are they important? Why are they essential for us? Um, as individuals and as professionals working in organizations, we have objectives to achieve. Okay, if you don't set goals for yourself as an organization, as an individual, you'll be working in vacuum. You wouldn't know exactly where you want to arrive at the end of the period. So once you set up goals, everybody is focused. Everybody knows that this is where or this is what we want to achieve at the end of the period. And all target, all energy, all time is earmarked towards achieving that goal. So it brings clarity as to
Right.
what you want to achieve as an individual and as what you want to achieve as a corporate body. In addition to that, it helps you, the individual, as well, to develop your personal skills. Because if you are put on a project, you know, as your objective for the year, it's probably because of a certain skills that you have. But trust me, irrespective of the skills that you have, you will still need some additional skills to be able to achieve
Right.
those the successes that has been earmarked for that project. And that will give you opportunity to develop, to learn something new, you know, and that helps with our personal growth, our personal development. So they are very essential for us as individuals and as corporate bodies. Well, one to help us focus towards one goal, one aim, one success, and also to help us develop ourselves as individual. Thank
Right,
you.
amazing. Thank you so much. You mentioned that a few people have stated that they've stopped setting the New Year resolution due to their inability to follow through, right? And I think it's an issue for quite a number of people, and we cannot assume that everyone who sets their goals achieve their goals. So I'm
Exactly.
looking at what do you think are the three top problems that or things that people overlook in the process of setting their goals or trying to achieve their goal, which has resulted to them being unable to fulfill or achieve their goals.
Okay. So individually, like I said, some people just copy paste because
Okay.
someone says they want to do this, also says, okay, then I'm also going to do that because the person is my friend,
Right.
or somebody sees an outcome. Oh, the friend is well built, and it gets to know that the person goes to the gym and doesn't ask how long have you been doing this, and says,
Right.
I also want to be like my friend. So ends up in the gym, and in 6 months he has not even developed one pack.
Mm.
Then he gives up, you know. So people do not really um, get to understand the basics or the reasons why certain actions are being taken or want to be taken.
Mm.
And that leads to failure in achieving those goals. There are times we set very vague goals,
Mm.
very vague goals. Um, so you want to what? Increase profits. So that is your objective, to increase profit. To what? When you have your objective just open like that, you do not know exactly what you are aiming towards, what the end game is going to be. So it is very vague. You want to improve on employee retention, reduce turnover. To what level? So these are very vague. And when you
Mm.
set up vague goals without proper timelines, without proper measurable outcomes, it becomes difficult to achieve those goals. The other thing is setting up too many goals at a time. Okay. So you end up putting, and this happen most often because at times as professionals we don't align, or we are not aligned to what our corporate organization is seeking to achieve. So at the beginning of the year, probably you go back to your job description, pick up your job description and look at all the responsibilities and tasks that you have. And then based on that, you decide to set up your objectives. So you end up setting 6, 8, 10, 12 objectives. And these are too many. And if they are not aligned to the corporate objective of your organization, you end up working in vain, because at the end of the period, you may achieve one or two or three of them, but they may not even be aligned to the corporate goals. So when you decide to set up too many goals without aligning to the objective of the business, it also leads to failure.
Mm.
Remember, you will need a lot of time and energy to accomplish the objectives for the year. So
Right.
if you set up objectives that are not aligned, you're going to waste your time, you're going to waste resources, you're going to waste tools, you're going to waste energy in working towards these goals, which, of course, at the end of the period, does not really yield to any performance related to the business. So when this happens, we tend to fail because we have a lot of objectives or goals which are not aligned. And probably the last one is just reactions, reaction based on previous experience. So let's say this year, this year, you are supposed to have developed a number of clientele base. So your objective is to get about 20 clients or customers. You've been able to achieve it, and it's a great success. Yes, everybody applauds you for that. It doesn't mean that going forward into 2026, the objective again will be to develop more clients. Probably the business at that time would say, okay, we have 20 customers now. What do we
Right.
do to retain them? What do we do to make sure that these customers, are still working with us, are still, getting our products, and we're able to build relationship, we're able to build, that partnership with those clients.
Right.
So you go into the following year with the mindset that, okay, I was able to build a clientele base, I was able to develop customer base, and therefore that's my strength, and I want to continue in that direction. You may be
Yeah.
working, you know, in the wrong direction
Right.
to that of the business. So
Yeah.
you should always think of the strategy of a business, not to react. Probably something went wrong the previous year and you want to correct it. But again, maybe the business might have shifted from that and is looking
Exactly.
at something else. So if you do not understand the vision or the objective of the organization, you will rely on past experience, past happenings, and decide to focus yourself in areas that you think are relevant, but then it will be in the opposite direction. So these are some of the few, areas that, some of us as professionals and individuals, we tend to make those mistakes and they lead us in not achieving the objective that we set for ourselves.
All right, thank you so much for that. So, what kind of models or frameworks would you recommend for professionals to set clear and actionable goals? And right from setting goals, what are some of the practical actions that professionals can take to enable them stay motivated throughout the year?
Okay. All right. So there are a lot of frameworks and models, but maybe
Right,
I'll just speak about three of them. And I'm sure the very common one, which I'm sure most of us will be familiar with, is the SMART model. Where we say that when you are setting your objective, it should follow the SMART principle. That is, it should be specific, right? The objective should be specific. It shouldn't be vague. It should be specific, addressing a particular issue, right? It should be measurable. So you want to increase profit. You want to increase profit by what? Is it 10%? Is it 15%? Okay. You want to improve employee engagement by what percentage? Even your response to an employee engagement survey, by what percent? Okay,
right,
so it should be measurable such that everybody knows that at the end of the year, this is what we seek to achieve. And as an individual, you are able to measure yourself each and every day, each and every month, each and every quarter on how you are working towards achieving this objective for yourself. Right. So it should be measurable. And we are saying that it should be achievable or attainable. It shouldn't be such that, I mean, you set up the objective and in 2 months or 3 months you are done. It means it's not stretching enough. And it
right,
shouldn't be such that you set up an objective and you can never achieve it. It should be something that is stretchable but achievable, so that at the end of the year, at least the minimum, you should be able to meet your target. You should be able to meet your objective, right? And it should be relevant. It should be relevant. It should be relevant to the organization, not relevant to just yourself, because you are working in an organization. The organization has a strategy for the year, and that is why it is important that at the beginning of the year, leaders of organization cascade what objective the business is focused on for that particular year. So it should be a top-down approach. What is the strategy of our organization this year? What do we seek to achieve? We socialize this with everybody in the organization. We socialize this with each head of department for everybody to know what they are expected to contribute physically. With this, it will cascade down to the last person in the organization, and everybody will understand their contribution in attaining the objective of the organization. So it must be relevant. It must be relevant to the organization. And then last but not the least, it should be time bound. Okay. Um, there should be a time frame with which you're working on achieving a specific objective. It shouldn't just be open and for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you are still working on one particular goal or objective. There should be a time frame and then you work towards that time frame. When you have this principle in place, it helps and it guides you. It helps and it guides you to achieve your objective for the year. The other one is what we call the WHOOP framework or the WHOOP model, right? So WOOP. And this one deals with having the wish. Okay. So you have the wish, you desire to achieve a specific objective within a certain time frame. You want to look at what outcomes you expect at the end of the year. So for year 2026, what are the outcomes that I'm seeking to achieve as an individual, also as an organization? And then based on the outcomes and the expectation, you want to identify the obstacles. So what are some of the hurdles that I'm likely to see, to face whilst trying to achieve this objective? And then finally look at the plan. So the plan, are there alternative, actions that I can put in place so that if my initial plan fails, I can look at the alternative, right? So this is also a principle that normally we want to look at, or a framework that you want to look at when you are designing your objectives for the year. And the last one that I'll probably speak on is the grow framework, where you look at your goal for the year. So you look at your goal for the year, you look at the reality on the ground. So you have a very high turnover. That's the reality. What is your goal? Is to improve on your retention. Okay. So your genes, your goal. The R is the reality on the ground. And then the O is the options that you have. What are the options? Why are people leaving? So if you are the head of HR of an organization and your people are leaving and you want a strategy, your objective is to ensure that you retain them. You want to ask yourself, why are they leaving and what are the options? What can you do? Okay. And then based on that, you look at the way forward, which is the way. What are the action plans that you need to put in place? Once you have this framework, you then move on to execute and you follow suit each and every time to make sure that you're able to achieve this goal. The second part of the question, you're talking about what motivation.
Motivation. What
Okay,
yeah, in the situation where some of them lose the motivation, what can they do to just be consistent?
okay. And talking about motivation, usually when we have a performance management system and we are talking about objectives, we are looking at the end of the year when everything is done. We have appraisals, we have our ratings. Okay, what is it going to translate into? So the expectation is, okay, I'm going to get maybe an annual bonus based on my performance. And I've heard commentaries where people say, I mean, the bonus after all is not that enough. So why should I stress myself? Okay.
Right.
So that is one. Two could be, well, I'm not getting support from my manager or my supervisor, or I do not have the tools to be able to execute my objective. So some of these factors at times demotivate professionals or employees to execute their objectives, which at the end of the day also impact the organization. But I always say that while we are thinking about the organization, you should also think about yourself. So that
Right.
if today your organization is not going to give you a fat bonus, you should also know that if you are not performing, you are not developing yourself, it means you're also not preparing yourself for the future or for growth. Okay. So it is always important first to motivate yourself, irrespective of what is happening around you. Okay. It's important at times you need to pause a bit and reflect on the hurdles or about the hurdles that you are facing in executing your job and look at what you can do in the apps in the presence of those hurdles to ensure that at the end of the year you are able to fulfill and you are able to execute all the objectives as expected. There will be challenges, like I've said. but you have
Yeah.
to put in the effort. You should be motivated that you are developing yourself, for the future, and for your next career. So if today you think uh, company A where you work in are not giving you a big and fat bonus, for you to probably join company B where you could get a big and fat bonus, you should have developed yourself in a certain way. Now, if you use the circumstance in company A to just sit idle at your desk and not really improve yourself, not develop yourself, you are not helping yourself to grow into moving into a higher role or to moving into an organization where maybe your performance will be rewarded as you expect. So I always advise that when it comes to performing our duties, we should understand that this is what we have decided to do as individuals. So I'm a business development manager, I'm a project manager, I'm the HR business partner. This is the career I've taken for myself to do. And therefore, I'm as much as possible do my part of the bargain irrespective of the circumstance. It doesn't mean that if there are no tools, I should or I would still go ahead and achieve, but I should put in the effort thinking about what the business is expecting to achieve and also for my personal growth. So it is important that we don't look at the external motivators always when we are considering our objectives and when we are considering working to fulfill our objectives in a particular period.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Right. Once again, if you are watching us, this is the Sedat HR Digest. And today we're having a conversation on goal setting and goal getting for 2026 as a professional. Let us know in the comments section where you are watching us from. Right. So just a few highlights from what Mr. Zakaria said so far. Um, he highlighted on goal setting and goal getting, how the focus of the goal setting is our desired outcomes, and goal getting is the actions you are putting in place to translate those desired outcomes into a reality. That's turning the invisible to visible. He also highlighted the importance of goal setting and goal getting. These enable you to have focus, to have clarity, and also to develop your personal skills. We also highlighted some of the problems that people encounter in the process of goal setting and goal getting. And one of those were the understanding of the basis for the goal. Most of the times we lack that understanding, and it's important that we do not just copy the goals of others but have an understanding of the basis for that goal. He also highlighted that we have to set goals that are measurable, in a specific timeline, and your goals must be aligned to the objectives of your organizations, and do not set too many goals at the same time. He has also highlighted some of the frameworks that
Hello, I think we lost Supernatural. Okay. So while we wait for Supernatural to come back, just to add on the motivation bit, I think it's important that as individuals and professionals, we learn to celebrate the little wins that we chalk in our career or in responding to our tasks and responsibilities. Once we acknowledge that the little effort has yielded even the minute result and applaud ourselves, it keeps us motivated. Most of the times, we want to wait for someone to, yeah, congratulate us, to tap our back to say, well done. That is good, and that is what is expected of leaders or of colleagues and supervisors. But in the absence of that, you need to encourage yourself. You need to celebrate the little wins that you've had. And with that, that will motivate you to face the hurdles that probably will come your way whilst working on your objectives for the year. So there's something I just wanted to add to it. Yes, I think Super is off. I'm sure she will join us soon. Kasana usuka distract me. Na mu je didi. Okay, so thanks very much for your patience. I think our moderator is having some challenges with network, so trying to fix it for her to join us. But whilst we wait for her, we just want to continue with the conversation. I want to look at some, you know, other areas that probably affect um, the execution of objectives in the year. You know, at times we spoke about motivation, and at times some of us along the line we give up or we feel like okay, it's not going to work. This objective that probably has been set from beginning of the year is not, it's no longer achievable, and you want to give up. There are times that you need to Take a break. There are things you need to do to bounce back. You need to do to bounce back. And one of the things is for you to admit that there is probably something wrong. There is something wrong. And take a break and review everything that you are tasked to do. Okay. And that is why it is important that as part of our process, we have consistent check ins. Most of the times, we start our process with our objective settings. In most cases, we have mid-year reviews and then final year review. In between that, if there are no check-ins, there are no, follow-ups, then we'll have issues with colleagues or team members who are facing challenges in executing their job. So it is important to have these check-ins, regular check-ins, to find out how a team member is doing with his or her responsibilities and tasks. And it's not just even to find out. At times, the strategy changes, and there are instances, sorry, that causes strategy to change. I mean, just a few years ago, we all woke up and one day there was COVID. It changed a lot of things. So probably the objective and the goal that a business has set from the beginning of the year would have changed because of COVID. In the sector that I work in, we've had challenges unexpectedly, and I'm pretty sure all of us, one way or the other, face challenges in our organizations. We should make room for, amendment changes. So it is important that we take a pause and review whether the goal that we set for ourselves is still relevant or not, whether we need to amend it, whether we need to even take it out of our objectives for the year and replace it with something that is more, you know, strategic to our organization. Also, it is important to reconnect to the why you have set these objectives for yourself, why the organization wants to achieve a certain goal. You need to energize yourself with why we have this as target for ourselves for this year, why we have this as our objectives for this year. If you're able to reconnect those back, it will give you some energy to bounce back and to start working on your objectives gradually. And like I said earlier, you also need to celebrate little wins. You don't have to wait till the end of the year before. So the little achievement you make some noise about it yourself. If nobody is doing it, if you are lucky and you find yourself in an organization where there are internal channels of communication which allows you to also post some achievements, you can just write a short story about what you've been able to do and then send it and let everybody get to see exactly what you as an individual has done. And I'm pretty sure when you receive very good comments, people like what you have posted, you get good review. It will motivate you to get back. It will motivate you to get back to working on those other objectives that you have for the year. Um, Another critical thing to do is also to diagnose what the hurdle is, what the challenge is. So if you are tasked to what raise a revenue of 3 million in a year and it's half year already and you've not even done a 50K. So you want to diagnose what the challenge is, what the hurdle is, and whether really this objective is attainable or not. So once you're able to go through this diagnosis, uh, you sit together with your manager, you look at it, what the challenges are. Are there missing tools? Are there missing skills? And these things are provided for you. Then you can bounce back and get to work. Um, it's also important to know that, I mean, you cannot do everything by your own. There are times you need support. So you are the project engineer, you are the procurement specialist. this your area of specialization and nobody does it better than you. It doesn't mean you can achieve everything on your own. There are times that you need support. You need someone to guide you, you need someone to coach you. To some extent, you may even need someone to mentor you. So when you are working on your objectives for the year and you are facing challenges and you want to bounce back, it's at times relevant to talk to someone who probably has done these things before, someone you can trust, someone who can advise and guide you and who can coach you. When you're able to do all of this, you're able to diagnose what the issues are, you're able to celebrate the little wins. I believe that will bring back the energy and it will help you to forge ahead and work towards achieving all the objectives that you have for the year. Super welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for stepping in. Amazing, right? And you would also agree that we are in a fast changing work environment. Looking at just 2025, we can only expect more in 2026, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how can professionals align their personal goals to this pace of how things are changing? Especially we are looking at next year,
Well, the um, work environment is changing each and every time. There is nothing that is static. Okay,
right?
how we used to do certain things some few years ago are not the same. Are not the same. Today we talk about AI, and it is the talk of town. So if you are here and you don't know anything about AI, then you are probably still in some years you are falling behind,
Right,
right? So it's important that as professionals we understand the emerging trends, we understand what is happening new in the corporate world, in the work environment, and make sure that we are abreast with new trends in the corporate world. So continuous improvement for yourself, learning about new tools. I spoke about AI tools. And I think we've had a lot of discussions about AI in HR Digest. We said that, and I'm pretty sure most of us who have been part of this discussion would appreciate that AI has come to stay with us, and it is the new norm. And if you don't embrace it as a professional, you would be left behind. So it is important that you are aligned in this area. You need to prioritize your skills. So going to next year, what are the intended strategies and projects? And based on this, what skills do I need? What skills do I need to develop to make sure that I'm relevant in my organization? I'm
right,
relevant to be able to execute the tasks and responsibility. And also, very important is to have a very clear understanding of the objective of your organization. If you miss this, it will become difficult for you to align your personal objectives to that of the organization. You cannot work in vacuum and at the end of the year be told that, oh, all your achievements did not really impact us. Okay. I'm pretty sure we all know about this popular story about the former president of America, John F. Kennedy, who went to NASA and asked the janitor what he was doing. And he said he's helping to put a man to the moon. So there's
right,
someone who is cleaning the place, and he understands that the fact that he is there to clean is in support or is aligned to NASA's strategy to get somebody onto the moon.
right,
So if you think you are the least person in the organization and therefore your contribution doesn't help to meet the organization goals and therefore you don't put in much effort, then you not be aligned to the strategy of the organization. So it is a very important that you understand the strategy of the organization, you are aligned to it, such that whatever you do When you get to work from Monday to Friday, from whatever time that you work, you are focused and you know that the little thing that I'm doing is geared towards achieving a specific objective, which has been agreed overall as an organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Sedat Consult is so much passionate about helping you align yourself to this fast changing work environment. And due to that, we have an upcoming training on AI that's going
Mm,
to be on the 20th of December. It's themed AI for HR and business efficiency. 20th of December at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The fee for this training is 1,200 Ghana cedis. It's a virtual training. So make sure you register for this training to align yourself to this fast changing work environment. Right. Back to our conversation. Thank you once again, Mr. Zakaria. All right. So now that most professionals have the understanding of goal setting, the challenges that come along with goal setting and goal getting, I'd want for you to share with us maybe top three, top two mindset shifts that we ought to have to enable us move from merely goal setting to actually achieving our goals.
okay. Thanks very much, Super. I think that's a very good question. Um, yes, so it's important that we have a shift in our mindset when it comes to goal setting.
Right.
Some some years ago, and this is a real story. I mean, someone will say, "Oh, you know what? I'm not interested in this whole PMS system and going to sit in front of my manager to have media reviews and end of year reviews and all of that. Um, Whatever curve that the business is trying to attain or achieve, the curve can be drawn on him. Usually at the end of the year when you have your ratings, you expect that your rating curve should follow a bell curve shape. Few employees should probably not have met, some a lot more, depending on the performance of the organization, should have met, and then a few probably will exceed. I mean, some people feel it's not important, so hey, you can decide to put me at not meeting the objective to meet your, bell shaped curve. But that is not the essence of you, having the objective. It is for your personal growth as well. So it's important that we move away from those external motivators to personal growth. So if you shift our mind from that, from the external motivators to personal growth, when you have the personal growth mindset, it will help you develop yourself for a bigger portfolio, for bigger opportunities, and to help you also put yourself up um, where you want to be in future in terms of career. Okay. Also, some of us assume that having the biggest goal make us or would make us more relevant. But like I shared about the janitor at NASA, the little thing you do also
Right.
contributes to it. So irrespective of your position in the organization, don't assume that what you are doing does not contribute to the overall gain of the business. So it is important to shift away from, oh, it is this group of persons or this department that are contributing and mine is not relevant. So I decide to do whatever I want, not reflecting on the fact that collectively our responsibilities add up to achieving the goal of the organization. So we should shift from it is only the big goals that
Right.
are important, okay? And it's also important um, to shift from doing it one at a time. There are times we feel, okay, I mean, I'm a sales manager. I'm very good at selling. I mean, when I get to the market, I can do it. So I have a target to raise 3 million in a year. I want to take my time. In September, I'm sure I can hit or I can start working to hit that. No, don't wait till the end of the year before you start. It's better to start gradually. No need to be complacent and think that, okay, this my area of strength and therefore I can do it at any time at all. It's better to start little by little and cover every bit of your objective till the end of the year. And we don't need to wait for the perfect plan. So we need to shift our mind from um, the thought of having a perfect plan before we execute our objective. You are not going to have a perfect plan always. At least there is a plan. Strive to get the needed skills, strive to get the needed tools, and start. Once you start, you improve on them. Where there are issues, you review and you work on them. That is how you're able to achieve. If you're so you're going to wait till you have everything well orchestrated before you start working on your objective, you are never going to make it. So it's important to shift our mind from waiting to have that perfect plan before starting any project. And I think I mentioned this as well. Moving away from I can do it alone to seeking help when needed. Irrespective of your skill, your competence, your speciality, you will need help at any point in time. So don't overburden yourself or overload yourself with everything in the organization. Learn to delegate, learn to seek help, learn to seek support from your superiors, learn to get somebody to coach you and to guide you. With that, you'll be able to manage your space, you'll be able to manage your tasks, and you'll be able to deliver. So once you're able to shift your mind from, being an expert and understanding that I would need others to support me, it will help you to achieve. Because at the end of the day, the goal is towards one corporate objective. It is
Right.
not for you to be singled out as the best among. It should be that, okay, we are working towards attaining one objective. And if you have that mindset, you'll be able to bring others on board or bring others closer to you to help work on those tasks and responsibilities. Super.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. So now we are going to shift to you, Mr. Zakaria. We want you to share a personal experience where a well set goal of
Mm.
yours significantly changed your career or your personal growth.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think I have a couple of them, but maybe I'll share a more recent one.
Okay.
Like I said, I did not start my career in HR. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I started my career working in the bank, but not in HR. But uh, by virtue and plan of God, I found myself in HR, into a space that I didn't even have experience in. But because I was determined, within a very short time, I could grasp my hands on, what the role required of me, and
All
I
right.
was able to execute my responsibilities well. And in that role, like a year, I was put on a project, and I mean, I was able to execute that. But that's not what I'm talking about. So when I joined my current organization, I think one point going to we're embarking on a global project, and I was tasked to take care of 3 countries, including Ghana. And this is something that I have done before, something similar in my previous organization, and even in this same organization, I've done something similar. So initially, I tasked myself to complete this in a year, but then I looked at it again and told myself, okay, Ghana is a bigger scope.
All
I
right.
am very familiar with Ghana. I'm I'm very good with the data that comes from the Ghana population. I have full control of it, even though it is a very large population compared to the other countries. The other country, it's a small country. Um, I have some good knowledge about them. I could also work on that. The third country also quite small. However, there was a challenge, which is language barrier. Okay, so even though I had set a time frame to complete this in a year, I envisaged that I was going to have some delay, especially with a third country, which, one language barrier, and their processes is also a bit complex, right? So what I did was to come up with a well structured objective where I told, and this is what we normally do to discuss with the leaders, the project sponsor, and said that okay, we aim to achieve or complete this project within a period of 12 months. However, due to this limitation, I believe we may have to extend for this other country so that it will give me time to work on those that I'm familiar with whilst taking, a closer look at the other countries. And thankfully, we're able to execute Ghana without any issue. The other country, I got the needed support within that same year. We were able to complete it. So
Yeah.
even though we're looking at 1 year, I was able to finish Ghana and the other country in less than a year. And it gave me
Amazing.
time to focus on the third country where the processes were a bit complex, the language was an issue, to pay more attention to it. And I think with that, we're able to execute, or I was able to execute this project. And for the past 2, 3 years, the system has been running successfully. I this is a global project, like I mentioned, because I work in
Awesome.
multinational. And for my scope, I mean, when there are communications about this project, I happen to be one of the leads whose scope is announced as starting and completing and
Awesome.
currently being used. And I think for me, it gives me you know joy to know that even among the bigger organization, I've been able to execute this project and complete it on time within stipulated and expected time. And it's all because of the proper planning that we put in place, identifying what the hurdles will be,
Yeah.
reviewing the timelines, and agreeing to ensure that everybody understand what needs to be done at what period. And I think personally, I think it gives me joy anytime when some communication along this project is being made, and these three countries are mentioned as being completed and currently in use. So I would mention this as one of the objectives that I've had recently, which has really gone well and which has I think given me some visibility in my
Awesome.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks very much, Super.
And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really an insightful session with you. All too soon, we are wrapping up.
Thanks to you too, and thanks to
Thank
Sedat
you to
for
everyone
the
who has joined. Priscilla Ofosuhene, thank you for joining us. I see Miss Freeman. She says, "Great point, my boss." I saw Zachariah from Kumasi. Thank you for joining us. All right. Once again, this is Sedat HR Digest, and we have these sessions every Sunday at 4 p.m. Make it a point to join us next Sunday. And once you join, share the link to have others join in on this on our conversations. Thank you so much once again, Mr.
Yeah,
Zachariah.
thanks very much, Super. Before I go, maybe my last words.
Yes.
It's important that when we have our objectives set, we have continuous check-ins We don't have
Yes,
to
sir.
wait till end of the year. I think over the years we've seen a lot of improvement when it comes to this, but there are still some of us who do not do this. And as HR professionals, it's important that as part of our performance management system, we do not wait till end of year before we ask managers or supervisors and their team
Yeah.
members to review their objectives. At least a quarterly check-in to ensure that everybody is aligned. Also, very important is to ensure there's annual training and retraining on the reasons why you are setting these objectives and how the structure is. Most of the times we fail to do this and we assume that everybody understand the process. So it's another year. And that is why in most cases employees do not take it serious because they see it as one of HR activity to be done. So they just put something in the system, that is if you are using the system, and they go to sleep. But if every year you have training managers, supervisors, and employees for them to understand how to set the objectives and why they need to set the objectives, and to even going the extra mile, making sure that beginning of the year you bring the leaders of the organization to explain to everybody what the objective is for the year. It will help each and every individual in the organization to appreciate their contribution and what they need to focus on to help the organizations to achieve its objectives. So thank you once again for the opportunity, and looking forward to be here once again next time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you always. All right. Once again, from Mr. Zachariah, there's no need to wait for a perfect plan next year. Start gradually and ensure that you are constantly reviewing your goals. Thank you for joining us, and be reminded of our upcoming training on AI on the 20th of December, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That goes at a fee of 1,200 Ghana cedis. Make sure to register, as there are only 15 slots for this particular training because of the support that we would want to offer to the participants. So ensure that you register on time so that you can partake of this training. All right. Thank you once again for joining us. This is the Sedat HR Digest, and we will be live again 4 p.m. next Sunday.